Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. And I want to welcome you to Shortcuts for Your Soul. And today I've got two really wonderful beings that I work a lot with, Master Jesus and Archangel Michael. And it's going to be a really exciting morning today for us. We'll be doing the draw in a few minutes to see who wins the reading for this month of my Patreons. If you're a member of my Patreon page, you get entered automatically into a draw to win a free reading with me at the beginning of each month. We do this draw. And I'm just going to set up a few other things here and wait for people to come on. Hi, Lysandra. Good morning to you. It is a brand new, beautiful day, isn't it? Just go over here. I was going to set a couple of things up. But, wow, can you feel the energies that are coming in right now? The two solar flares that happened over the early part of last week are now been impacting the planet for 24 to 48 hours now. And the gamma radiation, the X-rays, the different frequencies that are coming in the planet are really bringing things up, eh? You see all these riots and stuff that started over the weekend. It's not by chance. And it's not just because of one being's body being damaged by other beings. This is a shift in global consciousness that's happening. This is a movement. We get to choose as a species, not as separate races, but we are a human species with different branches in our family tree. You know, we can call them black or white or yellow or red, but there's a transformation and ascension from fear towards love. That's what's happening right now. And everything that is fear-based is being brought to the surface so we can see, do we want to accept and choose fear? Do we want to accept and choose love? It's where we are as a collective species. And most people don't realize just how we actually affect the planet and each other by what we think and what we feel. And today's subject with Master Jesus and Archangel Michael really addresses it. It's called Know Thyself. Master Jesus came to me in the shower saying, it's about know thyself. And then Archangel Michael said it's important that they know which self. So it's really interesting. Know thyself. But which one? Which self are we referring to? And we're going to get into that in a couple moments. I'm just going to bring this up here so I can keep track of everybody. Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys had a wonderful and a joy-filled weekend. It just gets better and better every day, doesn't it? Okay, and again, how you feel is a choice. How you are feeling is really a choice. And there are going to be things in your life, events in the world around you, that are going to stimulate you to act or react. And most people on the planet today are in a reactionary state. They're in a reactionary state. And to be proactive as a species, our collective unconscious must be united, right? So Master Jesus says this is about unity. This is about truly a conscious, deliberate choice from each individual in a matter of the truth of their own being, the truth of their own expression. That which you are, the self that is the self that is here to bring the light to this world. And all of you have brought some light to this world. There's no exception. All of you have that light within your heart, and your soul is that light. And you bring that here. But many of you are cluttered in here. You have a difficult time shining through this, and you have a difficult time learning to honor that which is within you. You defer, many of you, to that which is around you and outside of you. And so choices and results are very challenging for you. Our goal here today is to help you identify that self which you need to listen to most, that self within you, that is you, that is connected directly to the whole hierarchy and all beings of light. Love always works with itself, just as fear always works with itself. And you have choice over these things. Very interesting. So we're going to just wait a couple more minutes. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to pull a name out of the hat. I got a bunch of names in the hat here. And these are all the names in my Patreons. And we're going to pull one in just a minute to see who wins a free reading with me this month. I'm really excited about it because giving people readings is a really joyful experience when I never know who's going to come through for a person. Sometimes I'll get their grandparents, their grandmother, their lost brother or sister. I get Master Jesus or Buddha, or I get beings from other star systems and dimensions that I'm not even familiar with. Beings of light, beings of energy, strange little beings. I can't even describe some of them. They're just incredible. So it's always a delight for us to be able to give away a reading. If you want to be entered into the draw each month, please go to my Patreon page and become a Patreon supporter of the work that we're doing here. It's an amazing thing. Also, you get to ask a question each month that I'll channel your guides and your angels to answer that question for you. And again, it's an honor and privilege to serve all you guys. Let's see who we got here. Kathy, hi. Hi, Lori. Hi, Joe, Julia, Patricia, Nicole. Wow, lovely. Yes, I trust there is proper sound. Yeah, there is. Hi, Louise. Hi, Julia, Giovanna. Hi, Naveed. So let's get the draw taken care of right now. So I'm oops, put that one back in the hat, and put that one back in the hat, and I'm just gonna do that. Put them up above my head so you can see, and I'm gonna draw one name out of the hat. This is the winner for the free reading with me this month, and let's see who we got here. Gina Kilby. Hi, Gina. Congratulations. You won a free reading with me this month. I'm really happy to be able to give that to you. So, Gina, what you want to do is you want to go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com, and go to appointments, pick a date and time that suits you, and then email me with the date and time you've chosen. And we'll get you all set up. Or if yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's perfect. I'm looking forward to that. Just so everybody sees, I hand wrote the name there so you can see Gina Kilby, and back into the hat with you for next month. And again, thank you to all my Patreon supporters. It's been mind-blowing this last month, the people that have come to support this work, and I appreciate the value of the time and the energy that we're putting into to make this movement grow and grow and grow, and to bring the light back to humanity, to bring love back to our species. With that being said, let's get into. So Master Jesus came to you in the shower this morning. He said, today it is important you speak about know thyself, knowing thyself. And then Archangel Michael came in and said, but it's important they need to know what self to know. And so we're going to get into that. So when I asked Michael, what do you mean the selves? And he says there's several selves that as a physical entity when you're in your body that you have to contend with. The first self is the world self, the self that is out there in the world around you. That is the first self that most people have to contend with first and foremost, because many of you get stuck and trapped in this first self. And I don't know why he calls it the first self, but that's what he is. That's the first self. He said the second self is the self inside, in your mind, in your collections, in your recollections, in your information and your knowledge is the second self. The third self is your physical body, right? Three selves. The outside world as the outer self, the mental self, and the physical self. And he said, and the fourth self, which is the most important while you reside here on earth to do your work, is your awareness, your soul, that aspect of you that knows that we are one, that functions from that conscious platform of being and expressing with a recognition that all of your acts, deeds, words, and feelings affect all else. Yes. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So the selves, look at the selves. Most people, they say, are stuck in this outside self. And most of us are stuck in what the world says, what's on television, what's on the news, what's on the radio, what so-and-so said, what's going on. That first self, it's understandable that we get stuck in that because when we're born into a physical body, we are not distinguished from consciousness. We are, yes. He says you are still in a united consciousness. You have not distinguished yourself, but you come in being that which you are. You come into this world being that which you are. And this world remakes you into its image and likeness of itself, not the image and likeness of yourself, which is the great self. If you understand how to differentiate between the self that is made by this world and the self that is you, you can begin the process of remembering what it is you came here to do. The second self is the mental self, which is not just what the world has given us, we're gathered through our five physical senses, but what we think and feel and believe about that, what we decide about that, what we decide about ourselves, what we think our value is or what our value isn't. The awareness of that is beginning understanding of the second self, to liberate yourself from the second self, the stored memories, the past experiences, the past lifetimes, the genetically acquired information, all stored up in here and in here. And then the third self, which is the physical body, right? The third self is your physical body. It's an independent living organism. You're walking down the street and you're just kind of blissing out, say, and suddenly you hear a loud noise and you find your body going, it jumps. Wow, what was that, right? The body is an animal body that you inhabit. You are inhabiting an animal body that has its own nature, its own life. Yes. And it's important you understand how to love this animal. But you can tell, he says, by the way you treat all these other animals, that you do not love this. You do not love the physical being, for you do not love the other physical beings there. And how could you treat one that way and expect to experience the love and the joy of your being? Yes. So you want to go through a process of understanding that the body has its separate, distinct desires. It likes to eat, sleep, procreate. It has very simple, basic needs. But most people, he says, can't distinguish between the body self and the fourth self, or the self of what they call the soul, spirit of universal light. That's the term they gave me for soul, S-O-U-L, spirit of universal light or love, right? That's your true nature. And once you start to get to the place where you begin to examine the different selves, the outside self, the inner self, the constructed self, and the physical self, when you begin to make the distinction between who you are and these three other selves, you then go, yes, Master Jesus says, that's when you begin the journey up to heaven. You begin the journey up to heaven when you begin to understand the distinction between your awareness, the world, your mind, and your body. That is the journey, that distinction. For when you ascend yourself from these places to the divine estate in your consciousness, then you can begin to actualize your relationship with your source and know thy purpose here. Know thy purpose here. Because most of us come in here thinking we're going to be this or do that. But the acorn does not have to be told to become an oak tree. And you, as a soul, when you know that you are this awareness, this soul, inside you is the knowledge. Yes. He says that's the new rock with a new name on it. When you find your soul, when you come to the being that which you are, not lost in this world, you will begin to understand that you know your purpose and what is your joy to be. And what your joy is to be is your joy to do also. That's pretty cool. So know thyself. So which self do you know? Which self do you know? Which self are you more attached to? Which self do you believe that you think you are? This is so important to understand and be able to make those distinctions. I didn't know I was not my body and not my mind. I didn't begin to really come to that understanding until I hit around age 25, where I began to question, who am I? Who is the one thinking these thoughts? And when I'm asking myself questions, who am I asking? And I began a process at age 25 of beginning to slowly break away the attachments I had formed to my identity being based upon what others thought, felt, and believed about me, what I thought, felt, and believed about the world, or how I thought and felt I was supposed to be for the world. And then I started realizing that I had this separate entity that existed, and I had to break my awareness slowly away from them. Didn't get rid of them, change them, alter them. I pulled back my consciousness so the world does not define me anymore. The world doesn't define who I am. I define who I am. I don't have to be defined. I already am who I am. But I have to get out of what I've been taught to think I'm supposed to be in order to get to the truth of who I am, right? Because there's certain fundamental things. My mentor used to say the purpose of life is to obtain maximum pleasure without hurting myself or anyone else. And this is so important to understand. You want to get to that place where you can distinguish between who you think you are and who you truly are, who you physically are and who you are, what the world suggests you should be and who you choose to be. You get to choose to be who you are. but that requires letting go of who you are not. Yes, thank you. But okay, so we are going to take some questions today. I hope everybody came. Yes, Gina, write that down. Thank you. So Gina will get an email today too. So I'm just going to scroll up to the top and we'll begin down. And yes, good morning, everybody. Hi, Alan from Vancouver. Wonderful. Hello, Victoria's. Hello, Jade from North Carolina. Hello, Magical Buddha. Hi, Louise. Grand Rising. So this point of distinction between who you are and who you've been taught to think you are, what the worldview is, because remember, we were born into pure being. We came in as pure being. There was no just separate little me. That was created when our mommy and daddy started going, we're going to name this one Johnny or Mary. Hi, Mary. Hi, Johnny. Johnny's so cute. Look at Johnny's eyes. Look at Johnny's fingers. Look at Johnny's body. Oh, he's so cute. She's so cute. And all this information coming from the outside world gets put into the 5 physical senses of sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. And it begins to construct in the brain information that you as an awareness begin to pay attention to. Because when mommy or daddy says something that makes you feel good, well, the body responds because the body's alive and it responds to pain and pleasure. So mommy and daddy tickle your feet and they give you kisses and they make your body feel good. So now your awareness gets connected to the body as this feels good, because pleasure is much better than pain. So the body goes to that. Your awareness moves to that, right? And now over a period of time, now suddenly you become Johnny or you become Mary. Now you're in Johnny body and Mary body. But what would happen if we took Johnny or Mary, say a month and a half, 2 months after they were born, and let's say by some unfortunate error, their parents abandoned them or died in a car crash, and these 2 children had to be adopted out to brand new families at age 2 months. Johnny and Mary suddenly get adopted out to these new families. And the new family said, we don't like the names Johnny and Mary. We're going to name them Bob and Marion. And so they now start this process of treating Bob like Bob and Marion like Marion. And over a period of time, there is no more Robert. There is no more, there's no other, they're gone. They're now Marion and Bob. They're changed. And they will never remember that old identity because it did not get a chance to get locked in. It takes about 3 to 5 years for identity to get locked into the neural network of the system. But up until that time, before they were adopted out, they would have continued to believe they were who they were told they were. So you're not who you think you are what you think. And most of what you think was given to you by the world. And the goal of all the ascended masters and the angels and different beings and different planetary systems is to teach us to awake up to that which we truly are, and then to manifest in form our ultimate expression of self, which is love. It's not throwing rocks. It's not being mean. Hi, Vanessa. Oh, yes, Vanessa. I get a big yes. Thank you for that donation, Vanessa. Yes, absolutely. I just got an immediate big yes. And there's a big red heart with that, too. I'm getting a big red heart in my consciousness for that. And the words, don't try, allow. Don't try, allow. Don't try, allow. Repeating that. Don't try, allow. In your allowing, make certain you feel open. In your allowing, make certain you feel open to receiving. Thank you. Great question. Let's see, scroll up here. Questions. Hi, Manoj. I've been trying to stay focused in the present moment, but the moment I lapse my alertness, then the mind takes over. Please ask Jesus if it is meant to be a lifelong struggle against mind. Absolutely not, Manoj. He says, continue. He says, I don't know why he's using these words. He says, the serpent will continue to fight you until you tame it. The serpent will continue to fight you until you tame it. Wow. It's funny that as he's saying that, because immediately when he says serpent, I think of the Kundalini or the Caduceus, right? That medical symbol with the rod coming up, also called the staff of Hermes. It's a rod coming up. It's got 2 wings on the end and a little ball at the top. And the serpents are coming up like this. And they touch the top part of the ball together. So when he says serpents, I'm hearing that to mean when you tame the energy, when you tame your mind, get your mind so that no matter what you're doing, your mind is always ready to respond at your request. You're not subjective to it anymore. Is there a simple way you can do that? Um, mm, yes. He's saying continue onward. You just have to get past the relapse. You have to train your mind to stay still and yourself to stay awake. This is what was meant when we were asked to keep a vigil, to stay awake through the night. I'm reminded of the story. Again, I don't know much about biblical stories, but I do remember the story where somebody had to keep a vigil all night and they fell asleep. And the vigil wasn't about physically keeping the body with, it was about being alert and present, staying mindful and present in the moment. That's ultimately what the story represents, is learning to be in the present moment to such a degree and extent that your awareness actually expands. And that's what I've learned to do. You might find that helpful. When instead of focusing on keeping just the thoughts quiet, expand your awareness out. Expand your awareness out and be more aware of what is around you, but also what is within you at the same time. Just be aware, just observe, and continue to observe. Anything tries to get your attention, just release it, come back to the present moment, and just continue to do that. For some of you, this is going to be really difficult because if you're dealing with a lot of high anxiety or severe low emotions, remember, you are not the emotion. That's just energy. You are the awareness. And it's important you understand that being able to deliberately realize you're not the emotion, just stay present with it. Just be aware of it. Don't get engaged in it. Breathe. I always communicate. Anytime a negative emotion comes up, I sit with it and I'll let it know. I said, no matter what I've thought or felt or believed about you, I love you. And this is what Master Jesus taught me. Love those that disrespectfully treat you. He didn't mean human beings. He meant within you, right? When you feel those negative emotions, depression, don't try to get rid of them or fight them or resist them, right? Yeah, I understand that. Okay. You really want to engage them with love, right? Until they believe you. You want to, no matter what, some of the anger, you don't love me, and it might get even angrier, or the depression might get worse and more intense. And you got to stay fast in your willingness to love. Your mind and body are just instruments of who you are. They aren't who you are. Let's see here. What do we got? Vanessa, thank you for that $5. I really appreciate it. I heard I will teach in the future. Any info? Is it healing? I study pharmaceutical sciences. They're saying you already are in healing. They keep showing me this. Your hands doing this. I'm putting them on your face. You need to become aware that you are the healer. Your body is the instrument. The healing that you've been aspiring to do, you are too caught up in the first self. You are too entrapped by the world to know the gift of healing that truly is yours. But you do understand that you are a healer. But you do not understand the type of healer you are because you're seeking that answer outside of yourself. Go within, dear child. Go within, dear child. Go within. And remember, saying do this. Become aware of what you are. And again, when he's having me do that to show you, I can actually feel that, like, massive amounts of energy coming through the hand. Yes, you need to become aware of your gift within. You're trying to satisfy it without, which is it's understandable. We've all been conditioned to think happiness is out there. What makes me feel good, what makes me feel bad is going to be in the world. And yeah, there are lots of things in this world that can make you feel good, and lots of things in this world can make you feel bad. But ultimately, it's what you do with your awareness, how you interact with your thoughts, the type of thoughts you generate, create, edit, or delete, that will determine what becomes your good or bad in this world. You're a creator of conditions, not an effect of conditions. Most humans have been trained to think, feel, and believe that the world is the source of who they are. And that's the lie. The source of who you are, to know thyself, is to know the self that is you, the soul that is you, the awareness that you are, the light that is you. And that is not either thought, that is not anything of this world, but it is in this world as you are. Great question. But yeah, do the hand thing. He's saying make sure you do the hand thing. Hi, Alan is asking, thank you for that $7 donation. Is it worth doing past life regression, or as Buddha is reported as saying, don't worry about past or future. Concentrate on this life. This is a great question, Alan. And it's funny you asked for Buddha, because he says, he says, pay no heed of the past, but put your heart in this moment fully. He's stressing the word fully, in this moment fully. And restore yourself to the peace of the moment. And from this peace within, you may ask, what shall I be or do? And listen within. Listen within. Do not listen to your thoughts from your past of what you've been taught to think you might be or could be or should be. Listen very carefully in the silence within. You will hear when there is silence. You cannot hear until you have silence. Well, I've always loved when he says that. You cannot hear until there is silence. And most of us can't. Most of us don't know how to shut this off. And yet there's a simple way to do it. Shh. Literally, put your finger, your index finger, your lip, when you got a lot of stuff going on in your mind, and just go, shh, and feel that. You know, when they revealed that one to me, it was like, oh, that certainly saves a lot of time. And then there's other processes they've taught too, like breathing and getting deeper and taking your attention from the outside world and going within. But to know thyself, which self are you attached to? Are you attached to the outside self? Are you attached to the mental self? Are you attached to the physical self as yourself? Or are you awake and aware? The ascension is about climbing to the top of the stairway to heaven, which is the awareness of your soul, of being that which you are, which is connected to source energy all the time. You are connected to source energy all the time. It's beating your heart right now. It's digesting your food. It's circulating your blood. You are not separate from God. You will never be separate from God, ever. The body will be changed and transformed into the dust from whence it came, but you, as a manifestation of infinite intelligence, shall never pass away from existence. But you want to know which self you're stuck on. You're stuck on what the world thinks, what the world says. Wow, look at the rioting going on. Oh my God, what about this? Did you hear about that TV show? What about that? You know, are you letting that outside world run you, or are you restoring yourself back to yourself? Get past the first self, which is the world self, what the world has made you to believe you are, right? And start to question, who am I? Where do these thoughts come from? Yeah. Jesus says very few actually stop to question. And many of you try to run to somebody of greater authority than the greatest authority that is within you. Run to that source within you. Just get your house quiet so you can hear that which is within. He always uses the term Father, right? That Father within will always hear your call. Yes. Thank you. Great question. Thank you for that $11.11, Luke. I really appreciate that. Do my guides have any advice for me in this moment? Thank you. Wow. I get the words. The first words they're giving me is open your heart. Something about when you go to meditate, they're saying you can do this now. Sit back, close your eyes, breathe, and open your heart. They're saying there will be images come to your mind. Images will come to your mind when you open. They're literally saying like open your heart. So I'm interpreting that to mean breathe, relax, and feel this center of your body open. And as that opens, become aware of any images or ideas that come to mind. They're saying that these will give you, they're like little pointers, little arrows pointing you. Write the images down. Also, any words that come with them, they say. Also, any words that come with them. Wow. So the first self is the world self, and it's not who you are. The first three selves are not who you are. The first three selves are mechanisms through which you can express the being that truly who you are is through matter, time, and space. Because you are not of this world. You are in this world living within a physical body. You have content in a physical brain, information stored in there from the 5 physical senses. And then you've got a physical world around you in which you can function or express. Most of you are stuck in the first world. The second world is the mental world, the constructed self, the personality, John or Mary or Luke or Miriam or whatever the name is that was given to the container you find yourself residing in. When you begin to question that self, and you ask yourself, who is this I that I am that can observe this self, that can observe these thoughts, can observe these emotions? When you begin to ask that, who am I that can observe these thoughts, you will start to move towards breaking free of the second self, the constructed personality, and moving towards the third self, which is, what is the body? Well, the body is an instrument. This third self, this physical body, is an instrument through which you express whatever is stored in here and whatever you are aware of as an awareness. But again, you've got to break the cycle of being dependent on the outside world to define you, for you, to give you your joy, to give you your happiness, to give you your bliss. You are the happiness and bliss. You came down, but you've gotten so lost in what people have told you to think you're supposed to be, you've forgotten yourself. And it's time to remember who you are. Know thyself. That's what they keep saying to us loud and clear. There's just like a chorus of angels here saying, know thyself. Like, really, know thyself. Yeah, it's really cool. And once you begin that process of examining the thoughts and getting disassociated from your past memories and learning to be in the present moment, and every single master, without exception, always said the eternal present, the kingdom of God, the here and now. It's right now. It's not in your past. It's not in the right now. And when you get into a state of bliss in the present moment, you can move into a state of love and sustain that energy. You'll start to recreate a whole new world, right? Once you can get your awareness not being subjective to the body anymore. Thank you so much. So let's get back on the questions. Great question, by the way, today, guys. Wow. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Yes. Patricia, yes, quiet ego. Yes, that's correct. Heather's asking a really great question. Is living as the example enough? No. Being that which you are is enough. Being that which you are, doing that which you are. When you're in alignment to your highest awareness of self, you will think, say, and do things very different than anything you know. And it will surprise you. And it will delight you. And people will go, wow. It will amaze them because you are no longer coming from this limited self that the world has constructed. Being that which you are. If you are saying that is the example, then yes, from that perspective. But being that which you are is the living God. That is the living God, being that which you truly are. And all of you are this. You have all known, even in your conventional scriptures, have said very clearly that your God is all powerful and all knowing and everywhere present. Do you not know that you are that which you seek? But yeah, if you're being your highest being, and they tell me all the time, there is no ultimate super place of being that you're going to get to. It's an endless journey through infinite consciousness of ongoing transformation and transmutation of your awareness from one state to another. You started out as a little, as a one-celled organism on this planet, a few billion years ago on this planet, a single-celled organism emerged, and it formed experiences and consciousness, and it evolved through all that experience, and the physical form transformed and changed as it gained experience. It didn't stay the same. We didn't stay as a single-celled organism. We evolved through experience, and experience changes matter. Awareness of experience and our interaction with our experience of time, space, matter alters, changes. These physical bodies that we're in right now, these human bodies, are transforming and changing based on our experience. And as you get into thought and emotion, you begin to organize matter very differently than that single-celled organism, which took millions and millions of years to become a multi-celled organism. And then millions of years for that multi-celled organism to begin to develop motion and independent movement and coming up on land. We go through a process. These human bodies are not the final destination in the process of your evolution. This is just a waypoint along an infinite spectrum of joy, if you choose joy, of course. It can be an infinite spectrum of suffering too, because energy goes in two directions, either positively or negatively, and it doesn't judge you. Wow. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Hope this is making sense to you guys. So Getting out of the third self. Remember, the third self is the world. The first self is the physical world. That's what most people are stuck in. They're reacting to the news. They're reacting to the TV shows. They're reacting to mom. They're reacting to dad. They're reacting to baby. They're reacting to money. They're reacting to all the stuff out there. And their self is outside of themselves. They're lost. They've left the house and are lost in the world. Right? That's what happens to us. We go out into it. We become part of the world, and we're lost in it. You know, I once was lost, now I was found. Right? You want to start looking, step back. This world does not make you that which you are. You make you that which you are. So you step away from the world and start to examine, well, who am I? Where did I get these thoughts from? And you're going to discover that most of the thoughts that are going on in your mind aren't even yours. They were given to you by books and people and TVs and radios and teachers and students and friends and lovers. And you've got to step back from that even further and realize, well, if that's not who I am, those are just experiences I've had, then who is this I that is aware of the memories, that is aware of possible futures, that are aware of this present moment? Who is that you, right? And then that you can begin to examine and begin to reorganize the thoughts and emotions, can then pick up the process of teaching the mind to be still, teaching the body to be still, to be the servant. Because your body also, it likes pleasure, right? Something tastes really good, it wants to drink. There's some sugar and some caffeine there. It wants that because it gives it a sensation that makes it feel good. The body, gets its reality from the outside world as well. Its sense of safety, its sense of comfort comes from the world. That's where it's conditioned to. That's how it's experienced itself for 250 million years, since the living forms got up and had locomotion and movement. The outside world determined its survival. Right? But as an awareness, you determine, you can now step away from being subjective to this, subjective to the senses, and start identifying. And science is showing that your body needs certain things and doesn't need certain things. That you can put things in the body that will elevate it up and bring the energy up. You put things in the body that'll drag it down. You know, and the vast majority of people are caught up in the body self. And if they're not stuck out there, then they're stuck in here. If they're not stuck in here, they're stuck in there. And it's not who you are. It's an instrument. Like a guitar, this is just an instrument. You want to get to the place you're getting to the true self, what we're labeling as the true self. It's just one aspect of the true self relative to these other three aspects we've mentioned, which is who you are. The awareness of you that while your mind is examining these words, there's an aspect of yourself that can hear and feel a certain sensation within yourself that resonates to something that's right within you. Because the goal of all of these beings working with us at this time is that they stimulate an awareness of that which is you as they are within you as yourself. And I know that sounds a little convoluted, but the reality is when you begin to step outside of your thoughts, when you begin to step outside the world, you start to move into your awareness, you begin a process of what they call waking up. And that's what the ascension process is. And we're seeing all this conflict going on, all this crazy stuff. The lies and the deception and the greed and the wars and all that stuff going on out there is going on out there to get you to the understanding that is just an effect of certain ideologies and certain beliefs that don't define you, but most people are still being defined by it. But again, now this is all the collective unconscious stuff that's been hidden in all of us for thousands of years being released. So we can say, do we want to experience and create these expressions further? And the answer is, if you want to live by violence, you will live by violence. And that's okay. That's your choice. If you want to live by joy, you can live by joy. That's your choice. This is a free will zone. They have never, ever told me I have to do this. They said, it's more advisable that you don't drink coffee. It's more advisable that you don't drink alcohol. It's more advisable that you exercise regularly. But we will not ever try to force you to be or do what we think you should. For in your own experience of your life, you will know that which is true and that which is false. Right? And I'll tell you, drinking water, lots of water every day, is far more pleasurable to my body than drinking caffeine was when I drank caffeine. It's understand that. Different things you put in your body affect it. So getting to that fourth self, the I am, the soul, I, when you use the word I am. When you get to that place, you begin to liberate yourself. You begin to liberate yourself from this world. And then you can bring forth that which you are as an ascension, divine expression What is your talent? What is your gift? What is it you came here to give to this world? What is your gift? Everyone has one. Everyone is one. You are. You just got to remember it. Okay, questions. Bo is asking, how do we choose what to focus on if we are interested in so many topics? Well, this is really fascinating. And we love this question for a variety of reasons, because you want to get rid of the word or. Get the word or out of your vocabulary and put the word and in its place. You can learn this and this and this and this. The most successful dynamic people on the planet never do either or. They do this and this and this and this. And if something doesn't work, they let it go. But they do this and this and this. If something doesn't work, they let it go. And this and this and this. If something's not fulfilling them, they let it go. But they don't do either or. They try different things. They try different things. They try different things, right? And that process of doing these different things gives them an experience to know from within what is right, what is true, what fulfills, what opens your heart, what brings more of yourself to this world. Because what happens in this world, if you're going to be gravitating towards the world, bring yourself to the world, right? Bring yourself to the world again. Great question, Bo. Did I miss a question here? What's the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame on the soul level? This is a question from Naveed. What is the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame on the soul level, and what role does it play in terms of integration, our soul with source consciousness? First of all, everything is integrated with source consciousness to some degree. Everything is integrated with source consciousness to some degree, right? Much the same way as we can feel the sunlight, the heat from the sun, although we're 93 million miles away from the sun, we can feel the heat from that. A planet that's further away will still feel the heat, will just not feel it much. So the closer you are to source in consciousness, the more you will experience a different way of experiencing it, and therefore articulating its expression. Now, from my perspective, there's twin flames, which I believe are beings that have come to this physical dimension to shine a light collectively to help raise human collective unconsciousness up. Twin souls, again, and they can be in intimate relationships. They can function together as business partners. They can function together in a movement. They may even be in different points of time and space, but their collective energy works the same way, regardless of the point of time and space they're in. Twin souls are, again, if they're twins, there's only one, because a twin is identical. There's only one soul, right, in reality, fragmented into many individualized fractals. But I've often believed that the awareness, that once you cultivate an awareness yourself, you literally start to see everybody as you are, but not the same. They're the same but different. It's like you begin to recognize your interests, your needs, your wants, your desires are as important to you as my own. And a twin soul knows that when they look at another, when they're awake and aware, they'll see somebody else and recognize that that person's needs are as important to them as their own. And then they treat life with the highest possible regard. A soul that knows they're awake. And that's the key. Does a twin soul know that it's awake? Because we are all a soul, but most of us are caught either in the world self, the mental self, or the body self. Very few, if you look at the overall population, there's probably maybe 250 million people on the planet that actually know that they are not their body, they're not their mind, they're not the world. They are a sentient being manifesting a creative energy into the manufacturing conditions and expressions of energy and consciousness on this physical plane. That's what I get for that, because they're not saying anything to me about it personally. They don't distinguish things like that. They have individuality. Yes, Michael's saying they have individuality. Twin souls have individuality, but they function in complete harmony with the same ultimate goal of love's greatest extension being manifested in time and space. Cool. Louise is asking, in another shortcut, you heard that my fourth self name was the word ephemeral. Ephemeral means lasting for a very short time. Does your team have an explanation for me? Master Jesus says, if you understand the meaning of the eternal present, then you will understand that you do not need much time to be eternal or immortal. In that single precious moment, do all things exist. That which was before, that which is now, and that which will come after exists within this small thing that we call the holy instant, the present moment, the divine breath. Wow, that's really cool. Thank you for asking that question. So in that, from the perspective of the present moment, which is a very small point of time and space, is actually inclusive of all that is. So I think that's really cool. Thank you for asking that question, Louise. Kathy's asking, tremendously enjoy these lessons. Does Jesus or the team have a message for me? Yeah. I don't know why I don't know why the words "go for a picnic." I don't know why that comes, but go. I don't know why they're saying that. They're saying "go for a picnic." Literally saying "go for a picnic." I'm seeing literally. I'm getting an image of a red checkerboard blanket and a wooden basket, and you out in the sun near a forest on the edge of a field. That's what came in right away. Let us know what happens. Is there anything going to happen there? They're just smiling. Go for a picnic. They're just smiling. Artist Girl is asking, does thank you, Vanessa. I really appreciate that. Artist Girl, does making decrees and affirmations 3 times help to allow the integration of these 3 selves? Only, he's saying, who is this? This is Metatron. He's saying only if those decrees are felt with the energy of their meaning. When you speak the word, know the vibration of the word and its meaning. It is not enough to just say a word. It is sufficient when the word is spoken and its meaning is felt. The word must be spoken and its meaning must be felt. And from that, you will see the seeds grow. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. If you're going to use affirmation stuff, don't do the affirmations themselves. Go into the meaning of the feeling. That's how, again, I'm paraphrasing now. Go into the meaning of the feeling of the idea or the word. If it's I'm vibrant and healthy and strong and filled with joy, then you want to connect to the emotional energy, the feeling energy of the affirmation. You want to not just say the words, but you want to feel the meaning, the vibration of what those words mean as an experience. And once you combine the experiential meaning with the word, then the affirmations and those types of things will be far more effective. Because until you feel it, you won't be able to make it real. Emotion organizes matter. You've heard us say this before. Emotion organizes matter. There is not one human action or behavior that can happen unless there's an emotion behind it. All the violence you see had emotion behind it. All the peaceful demonstrations had an emotion behind it. Every human behavior, good, bad, and indifferent, requires an emotion in order for it to unfold. There must be an emotional energy. If there's no emotional energy, it won't happen. Every human behavior, from a child who can first emote to the senior, at the last moment of life and everything in between, what you feel is making your world real. So learn to connect to the delicious flavor of feeling that which would sustain your joy and your greatest opportunities. Great question. Thank you. I'm glad thank you for getting me to scroll back up for that, Naveed. It was well worth it. Question. You're welcome, Gina. Scroll down. Kimberly. Oh, thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate it. I love doing this, guys. And they were the ones that told me to do it. They first started out with, you just have to do 15 minutes a day. And I think we went 3 days into it. Before we knew it, we were up to 40 minutes, right? And so now we're at about the hour mark, and we're going to try and keep it there. They laugh at me because if it goes over, it goes over. It is what it is, right? Hi, Nicole. Oh, thank you for that question. Thank you for that $10 donation. Can I ask Archangel Michael if I should be concerned about a certain person conspiring against me? He's laughing. He's saying, take your concern by the back and drop it out the door. Remove the concern out of your house. Do not invite it in again. Do not have any attachment to that concern, but rather rejoice in the fulfillment of what you truly desire. That's really cool. So basically, if you're feeling concerned about anything, just literally take the energy, put it out of the house. If it's like an unruly guest. If somebody comes in your house and they start misbehaving, you ask them to leave, right? Same thing. Emotions are not who you are. They're energy that's yours. Our emotions are energy that we have available to us to generate behaviors that produce results in time, space, and matter, right? That's what emotion does. Animals don't have conscious control over their emotions like humans do. They feel emotion. They can feel pain. They can feel joy. They can feel sorrow. They can feel emotions, but they don't have the capacity to generate an emotion that will let them create a condition outside their normal framework of being as a rule, unless they've learned that from somewhere, right? There's certain fundamental things that animals can do that we can anthropomorphize and see that cows love each other, and they do, and dogs love each other, and they do, and they care. They'll pull each other off the road if they need to. They'll do certain fundamental things. But humans, we can generate an emotional charge that will let us build a city, that'll let us, reconfigure information to create devices that fly through the air, or devices that can go through time and space and build spaceships. We can get in an emotional state so excited that behaviors get generated from that excitement that produce results, just as equally as we get into emotional behaviors that are aggressive and mean and create things that are aggressive and mean. No human being on this planet can escape that subjectivity until you know you are not the body, you're not the mind, you're not the world, you are the soul, the I am. You are that fourth self, the soul. You, when you know that you are it, you will cease to be subject to this world. Then you have choice over what you will create. And then you can ask and receive. The reason why most people don't get what they're asking for is they're stuck in their mind, remembering what they've gotten before. They might not get it now. What if I get what I want now, but somebody tries to take, and they got all this stuff going on in the mind. They're not even differentiating between. They're letting the mind run them. Learn to recognize you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker, the soul, the awareness. You are not the body. You are the consciousness that can direct the activities of the body. You are not the world. You are extending energy to the world. And you can affect changes in the world as you gain experience with that. Very important to understand these distinctions. Know thyself. Do not let the world define you anymore. You must become self-defined to be liberated. Question from Blaine. Is there such a thing as free will, or are we our timeline set? Blaine, yes, there absolutely is free will right now. Like, there's free will. I mean, you can this body is alive. This body exists. It's an animal body. And it's got a will of its own. Like I said, if there's a loud bang or a sudden noise, or somebody startles you, or you hear somebody laughing really hard, this system will react to that automatically. You can train it so that it doesn't react. You can train it so that you hear the gunshot or you hear the fire engine and you don't get distracted. You can retrain the instrument to be a servant, just much the same way as they train guard dogs or service dogs. They're trained animals. Well, your body is an animal body. You inhabit an animal, a living animal. And you need to train it like you do a dog or cat. What it's supposed to eat, what it's not supposed to eat. How it's supposed to sleep, how it's not supposed to sleep. How it should stand, how it should sit, how it should walk. You have to train it. It's been trained on your behalf by your parents, your teachers, the environment. And now most of us wake up and go, how do I create the life I want? You've got to recreate your life. You've got to decide and make decisions. And it's not always easy, especially if you've got addictions or you're dealing with intense chronic negative emotions. Then it's a lot harder, but it's still doable. Your emotions are not who you are. They're just energy that's operating uncontrolled. You just kind of learn how to run the system, right? It's just a system. Emotion's just your energy in motion. And if you've been raised in environments which were aggressive or highly polarized, then you'll be conditioned to be in polarized states without even knowing why. I'm bipolar now. They check the blood markers and that shows I'm bipolar. Well, you're probably raised in an environment where people were going back and forth all the time. And that creates neurochemistry, a blood marker that says you're bipolar, which means you go positive, you go negative. manic depressive, positive negative. It's an automatic process, subconscious. And until you become conscious of the process, you're subjective to the process. And that has to be learned. One of the reasons I love working with guides and angels and all of you guys is we learn from each other. We learn, and going to higher potentials. When Master Jesus came to explain about this version of the four selves and how to get to them, it's a very different process. And when you open to higher knowledge, you liberate yourself from lower knowledge. You literally become liberated from the world. And Master Jesus, Buddha, Metatron, all these beings, the Pleiadians, the Lyrans, they're all liberated from being subjective to matter. They are proactive creator beings using matter to manifest wonderful creations, wonderful expressions, to explore and experience the infinite spectrum of the divine, of the very source that gives you life. It says, here, explore me forever. You'll never run out of me. I love that. Thank you. Great question. How are we doing time-wise here? We got 3 minutes left. Wow, this is really cool. You guys have been awesome today. And I also want to remind Gina Kirby. Remember Gina Kirby, if you're here today, Gina, you won the free reading for this month. So we'll get hooked up with you and get that all sorted out so you can get that reading. Anybody who wants to become a supporter of this work can become a member of my Patreon page, www.patreon.com/William Michael Forbes. And your support will help us to continue doing this work every single day, Monday to Friday. Well, Monday to Saturday now is when we're doing it. Saturday, we use Saturday as a predominantly meditative day where we use the energies from the preceding 5 days, Monday to Friday, all these shortcuts for the soul, all the energies we've generated get assimilated, integrated, and brought into your consciousness the way you need them to be during a meditative process every Saturday on Supernatural Saturday. And that's it. So it's a combination of question, answer, meditation, and then Q&A. And we'll hope to see you on Supernatural Saturday as well. Also, if you want to look into our mediumship courses are coming up in September, guys, like register now. Get ready for this. It's going to be mind-blowing. That starts September the 5th, and it's our Mediumship 101 Beginner's Mediumship Program, where you're going to learn how to sense the energies and the vibrations of your guides and your angels and the ascended beings that you choose to work with, that are actually here to work with you. How do you actually begin to see and hear and feel their energy? Because your eyes and your ears won't normally perceive that, but you can train your awareness to be aware of something other than what your eyes see and what your ears hear, which Master Jesus says all the time. You've got to teach people that they have to learn to see without their eyes and hear without their ears, right? And feel without their hands. And those are the clairs: clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. And you learn to open those non-physical senses up and then tap into the divine beings that are here to work with you. And anybody can do that. You can tap into higher beings. You can tap into lower beings. A lot of people are tapping into lower beings, not even aware that they're being manipulated. You think those people out there throwing bricks around in their normal day-to-day life would choose to do that? A lot of them aren't even aware why they're doing it. They're just caught up in a vibration, and they're being manipulated and controlled, and not even aware of that fact. And they think they've been conditioned to think they're doing something good. They're not doing something good. Anything that harms life is not good. Anything that harms life is not good. It's just reality. Just stick a knife in your hand and tell me that feels good. Anything that harms life is not coming from good. It's coming from not good, from something else. So you can learn to connect to your higher vibrational beings and work with them. They're here for all of us. They really are. Anything else? Also, and I got to thank everybody today who donated to asked your questions. Use the super chats to get your questions answered. I really appreciate that. Every little bit helps here, folks. Sunny, any info about my spiritual guide, Jeremiah? Did you not feel them when they came to you? The other day, they came to you. And that's why you're wondering. Tingling, okay. They're saying tingling over the right shoulder. Tingling over it. Sit down, quiet. Feel the tingling over the right shoulder. Not saying in the shoulder, saying over the right shoulder. There's tingling. If you pay attention to that and just keep your attention on it, you can start to receive information from that vibration. Once you start to perceive, remember, once you start to perceive a thing and give it attention, you begin to see more. It's like if you look at, if I ask everybody here to think about the color green, and you put all your attention on the color green, all of a sudden your mind goes, green leaves, green grass, green hornets, green, your brain starts to bring everything up that's green, right? Lettuce, right? Spinach, everything that's green starts to come up. So once you focus on a sensation energetically, you can start to tap into the one that is transmitted, where that sensation is coming from in non-physical time space. And we teach you all that in the mediumship beginners course. One more question here, guys. 1101, perfect. Okay, this is a really important question we're going to end on. It's from Heather, who's asking, in healing, because Master Jesus loves answering these questions, in healing our bodies physically to transform from injuries because of our past environment, please ask Master Jesus what's the best way. I'm doing what I know, but in his words, please. His first words are, let the dead bury the dead. Leave your past in your past and rejoice in the fulfillment. Rejoice. And he says, please place an emphasis on the idea of rejoice, on the feeling, the emotion, the energy of rejoicing. Put your emphasis on that. Rejoice in the fulfillment of that which you have asked for. Rejoice as if it is done. Rejoice as if it is done. And rejoice as if it is done. And he said, and rejoice as if it is done. Okay. He's saying that when you go into that state of joy of that thing being fulfilled, to stay in that no matter what, to stay in that energy, even if the body part or whatever the injury is, if the body part tries to go, stay in the joy, stay in the joy. Keep putting that energy of joy into that part of the body, because you want to give that part of the body new instructions, because it's been conditioned to suffer from the event. It's been trained that that's the way it's supposed to be, because that event made a high impact on it, right? He says, very important, make certain you stay in there until it is complete, right? And it's true. I broke my right heel bone into 4 separate pieces and tore all the ligaments from the ankle bone down, and I literally walked out of the hospital in 3.5 weeks. And my mentor then just gave me Gray's Anatomy, said, study it and tell the consciousness in your foot what to do. And you literally have to stay with it. Another person, Dr. Joe Dispenza, broke his back in 6 places and healed it using exactly the formula that Master Jesus said, stay with it, stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. And there's that guy in Australia now who's walking, was in a wheelchair for 25 years, paralyzed from the waist down, and now he's walking. Your genes, if you give your genes repeated instructions with new emotions, the body has to change. Give your genes new instructions with high intensity positive emotions, and they will change. You see this way this body's moving with the excitement? Well, you keep doing that with any part of your body long enough, eventually the body starts to get new signals, right? And every single cell in your body contains the full knowledge and understanding of every other part. So you can stimulate one cell to take up the functions of another. So you don't have to depend on out there all the time, but you have to train yourself to be so focused on the result you want that nothing else can happen, right? Let thine eye be single and thy whole body shall be filled with light. This is what Jesus is saying to you. That's a great question to end on today, Heather. I want to thank everybody once again for showing up today, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and join us here. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And this video, of course, please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it. Get this information out to people. There are so many people that are trapped in the fourth self. They think the world is what is going to fulfill them. And fulfillment, it comes from within, the kingdom of God, the creator self, that being which is you. Get this out. Humanity is not going to liberate itself from suffering until it liberates itself from suffering. And that you have to give it up in order to really be free of it. And we're so attached to it as a species. It's time to let it go, folks. Anyway, I want to wish all of you a wonderful, a joyful day. And I will see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Much love.